How Draco gets ready to pronounce the peeing potter.
Like, that image is... it's so good!
Potter. You know what? I've had enough of this positivity here on this show. Life is full of disappointments, and we can't go on sweeping them under the rug. So, you know what? It's not even a matter of like a one-time venting session. It's time for a complete channel rebrand. We're changing the show entirely. So with that said, welcome to the first episode of Tradin Hates, where we play games on our own time and discuss our least favorite parts. How was that?
That's pretty good. I mean, I'm ready to just talk about how much I despise games.
Yeah.
How much they suck and are a waste of time and money.
Any mention of things that are good in this world is like a waste of breath, man.
Yeah, no. You think I spent like 20-something episodes of this being positive and excited about stuff. You know, I guess we found the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, we were scraping the bottom of the barrel the whole time, but we could do this like Tradin Hates thing for like years. Decades.
Oh, dude, there's so much to hate.
And that's the thing. Controversy gets clicks. We're going to be so YouTube famous.
Oh my gosh, we'll have so much money.
We'll be the coolest people on planet Earth for our video game podcast.
So sidebar.
Yeah.
If you choose to edit this or not.
Yeah.
Are we going to keep this bit going for like the whole video? Okay, cool.
Well, one more that's appropriate for the occasion. Something I will always do for the rest of time on these videos now. Be sure to smash that like button and hit subscribe for more game-hating content. If you need your daily dose of nasty cough syrup, this is the show for you.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, now we're done.
Can we say it now? April Fools.
April Fools. Yeah, I figured for the day of silliness, it would be fun to try and single out games we don't like and talk about them very briefly.
This was such a funny, because we've joked about this forever, and then what's funny is how hard it was to find something that we actually were like, is there anything I genuinely hate?
Yeah. Are there any, and it's video games specifically, because I can think of movies that piss me off.
Oh my goodness, yes. Yes. Unbelievable. That would be
Getaway starring Selena Gomez and what's his face. I can't remember the guy's name. It was a boring movie about them being in cars trying to run away from police for like 2 hours, and it was boring.
Oh man, I had a long day today, so I'm kind of tired.
No, that's
so like my brain. Listen, I had to do research on the game I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, me too.
and I think it took a piece of my soul to even do that much.
So let me see. To prove just how unprofessional and unprepared we are for this day, we didn't even decide who was going to go first talking about their game.
No, we didn't. We were just like, well, we better hit record. And then we just kind of did it.
Because we haven't even put a lot of thought into planning what we're gonna do for this for like the weeks that we've been setting this up.
Well, it's not even just like the weeks that we've been setting it up. Like we've joked about this idea for years, and then
literally
been like, well,
we were gonna do
holidays.
This. We were gonna do this last year, and then we got too busy around April, and so we're just like, next year.
Well, and literally, I was like, hey, why don't we start now? So that we can actually release this in time.
So we can have it out on time. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Do you mind then if I go first?
Oh, okay. I I'm ready to go for. I don't have as much to say.
Oh, okay. I mean, I didn't prepare a lot either, but
no, yeah. This might be the adding to the hilarity of this rebranding, quote unquote.
yeah, channel-wide
is the fact
rebranding.
that like this might be one of our shorter videos.
That's another reason
irony.
people will be into it. We'll meet like a nice like 30-minute timeline and be like, oh man, 30 minutes, they're just stretching it out. And it's like, no, we are not.
Oh man.
All right. Well, if you want to go first, then let's hear about
I'm down.
it.
Okay. This was funny because I remember I messaged you during the week and I was like, I don't think you even know this game that I want to talk about and how much I hate it.
Oh yeah, I was wondering. I had no guesses.
No guesses. So there's a little game that I was briefly exposed to, and it really just, I don't know, it pushed all the buttons and really pissed me off.
Wait, can I make a guess?
Yes.
Is it Echo the Dolphin?
Surprisingly, no.
Wow, because that's the angriest I've ever heard you get at a game.
Well, the angriest I've ever gotten was at the Space Elf in the Metroid manga.
Right, but that's not a game. That's a manga.
No, yeah, exactly. And so it doesn't quite count. I'm reluctant to call this a game because by definition, I guess it is a video game. No. The game that magically somehow really hit all my buttons. Because, like, I was sitting there trying to think, what do I want to pick? Because I have a lot of games that I'm like, this one I could see myself, like, there's things about it that I don't like, but there's good things about it because that's who I am. I try and be positive.
Yeah.
This one, I'm like, I don't think it has a single redeeming quality.
Oh.
So, all right, I've teased you all long enough. The game that I want to talk about briefly is a little game called Cookie Clicker.
Oh, that's barely a video game.
And that's why it pisses me off.
I'm thinking about it. Guano in particular is a fan of idle clicker games. He's going to be so cross with you.
Oh, this is gonna be. Look, okay, I will be up front. I know, haha, April Fools were being silly, and like I'm gonna get a little mad because this game does piss me off.
Okay, yeah.
But like, if you enjoy this kind of thing, whatever. Like, you do you. Listen, I'm a Sonic fan. Like, my life is endless misery and suffering. You've already won without doing anything.
I've had to listen to you talk about how you like Sonic and the Secret Rings, so like...
Yeah, exactly. I do like Sonic and the Secret Rings. But like, Cookie Clicker, as a game, frustrates... Specifically, I should mention, specifically, the one I despise the most is the Steam version of the game, because it has an extra layer of insult by having you pay money for this game.
Oh, it's not free.
No.
Okay.
Well, because there's the browser version that you can just play for free. But if you get it on Steam, they ask for $5, which I don't even want to play this game for free. Like, so asking me for money to play your idle game is like an extra bit of salt in the wound where I'm like, no,
that is a lot.
No. And like, it's so funny because I was looking at the Steam page because I was like, how much does this cost? And it's funny because like people were talking about how like, well, don't you want to support the developers? And I'm like, I don't like your game. I'm sorry, I don't. So, backing up a little bit.
Actually,
funny.
Okay, I've got a real question here.
Yes.
Because I didn't know we were going into it with this energy. Did you play Cookie Clicker?
No, I did not. That's another...
That instantly, I think, disqualifies, because I could think of many games that I'm like, oh, this isn't for me,
Do you want
and
me
so
to
I didn't play them.
Do you want me to pull up Internet Explorer and play Cookie Clicker for
play
2
it
seconds?
while we're talking about it.
Oh my goodness, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Hang on.
This might be too much work. Do you know how to work screen capture on this computer?
No, I don't know what I'm doing.
Having a video feed of you playing Cookie Clicker?
Web version.
I guess, you know what you could do? You could stream it through Discord, and then I could record it.
Oh my goodness. Okay, hang on. Let me just...
I'm sorry for creating, like, suddenly new work for you. It's just...
Okay, hang on. How do I... Share your screen.
Yeah. Okay, I will start up my screen capture.
Go live.
Oh no, they changed the way NVIDIA works.
Where is it?
Okay, I'm recording. I hope the settings are fine.
Yeah. Wow. All right, here we go.
Oh my goodness.
I'm having so much fun.
See, now you've played Cookie Clicker, and it's valid for you to say that you dislike.
And now look at this. I sit here and I do this. This is so garbage.
This accidentally became our best episode of the show ever.
I hate this so... I am like seething, Joseph. I am seething.
Okay.
I'm pouring my rage into my clicks.
I was gonna say you could just keep idly clicking while we're chatting, but you can stop if you want to.
Cool. I'm gonna let it sit here.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna talk about how much I hate this game.
Yeah.
Because look at this. Like, obviously, I'm not playing optimally. Because if I like, actually sitting here and mashing this button is what's gonna, like, actually accomplish anything. You know, and again, there's like tiers to it of, okay, you know, okay, cool. Now I have 100 cookies. I buy a grandma now. And then she'll do this thing. And so like, now it's like you see the number actually going up. That is the entire game.
Right. It is.
That is the whole point of this game is to not play this game.
It's
get
the
to the
whole process of, like, everything that goes into gamifying a task, but then the actual task is not a game.
Like, it's so stupid. Because literally, like, I play a video game because I want to play something. But like this is nothing. This is just watching a number increase.
This is watching graphics on a screen react to you clicking, which in a way that's all video games, but it's like it's a singular button input. No like deep strategic thought is required unless like you make your own rules out of the game, trying to get the most in a span of time or trying to maximize how you get the most out of it. Those are game elements, but it's, I don't know. Y'all have seen the show. We try and get deeper themes out of games.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, continue.
Backing up a little bit, because I wanted to get into my history of how I learned to hate this game.
Yeah.
This was actually a conversation I had with a friend because I was over at his house. Mm-hmm. And we were over by his computer, and he's like, "Oh, hey, check it out. I've been playing Cookie Clicker. I've had this thing on for days. Look at all these cookies." And like he was trying to like sell me on this game. Was
he like trying to show off like it was an accomplishment?
Yeah, like it's really cool. Look how cool this is. And I'm like, okay, so what's the... He's like, well, now that I have this many cookies, I can have a grandma and she can just make them. And now I have, like, a cookie satellite that beams them directly, like, and it just, like, kept, I was like, so what's the point? He's like, well, look at the number. Look how big that number is. And I'm like...
I can type a bigger number into a calculator. Is that a game?
like, I can literally just go to my keyboard and put in big number. Like, I can do 1 times 2 and then just keep hitting the equals side and just watch that number get big. This is the same thing. He's like, yeah, but now I don't have to do that. I don't have to push the button. I have these clickers that just push the button for me. And I'm like, dude, this is the stupidest game I've ever seen. And he's like, no, it's awesome. And he's like trying to convince me of how, like, awesome this is. And I'm like, this is so stupid. Like, I genuinely hate this. This is actually making me upset. Because it's not a game. And he's like, look, I don't even have to do anything. And look at how big, look at all those cookies. And I'm like, this is nothing. This is meaningless. Like, you don't get anything from this. It just, number get bigger. And so, like, it's part of why I picked this game. Because, like, I know I got some crap from some people for what I said about Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. You know, because it hit on some themes that, like, were very uncomfortable for me.
It was a mature rated game with some really dark themes. I think that's...
Yeah.
I think it's reasonable.
It specifically hit some themes that I was like, ooh, I don't like that. You know, just like... In that sense, I was like, ooh, I don't know if I like this, like this kind of story, because this is very uncomfortable for me to watch. But, like, here's the thing. I felt something when we were playing that. Like, at the very least, when we went through that game, I walked away with something. I look at these cookies and I feel nothing. This is so just nothing.
It doesn't sound to me like you feel nothing. It sounds like you feel indignant.
Sorry, like, not nothing, but just, like, it feels pointless.
Nothing good.
Nothing good. Well, even, again, to bring it back to, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, we still had an amazing conversation out of that. And not to mention, there were still things that I liked about that game. The freaking final boss, as I mentioned, and the slew of memes that came out of it.
And that soundtrack.
That soundtrack is absolutely amazing. And so, like, in terms of that, like, I walked away with something that I could enjoy. Here, like, again, it's so nothing. And another part of why I picked this. So in preparation for this, because I was like, okay, hang on, I want to see, like, what is the goal of this game? What is the end? The ultimate takeaway.
What do you achieve?
Yeah, you know, like, is there anything of value in this game? So I went and I looked up, I was like, okay, what is there? And I YouTube searched it. I found a video. It's Alt-Shift-X. Just did Cookie Clicker Explained. It is a 10-minute video that I watched literally like 5 minutes before I called you.
Okay.
And hilariously, he added a new layer. He managed to just sneak a new layer of why I despise this game. And do you want to know what it is? So, like, if I have one positive thing to say about this, I guess it's funny in, like, how absurd it gets to. That, like, you terraform the planet to make cookies faster. And, like, there are, like, eldritch beings and stuff that, like, it hits a degree of being ludicrous. And the thing is that, like, in the video, he talks about how at the end of it, you hit this point where you have so many cookies, you could not possibly spend them all. Because, like, you know, you saw me, like, playing the game that, like, oh, I clicked 15 times, now I can buy a cursor. And then if I click, like, more, I can buy more cursors. And then, hey, now I can buy a gram. And it just, like, builds itself bigger and bigger.
It keeps going, yeah.
Until it hits a point that, like, all of these things that you've bought are so, like, astronomically large. And, like, the numbers aren't even real. And he even talks about how, like, the cookies are meaningless. Like, you can't spend them because, like he's like, literally, you can go into the game's code and type a number and it just goes up. You know, that thing that we were talking about, the calculator. Like he's like, they're meaningless and you can never spend that many. It only exists just to watch the number go up. And then he talked about how, like, you can replace the word cookie with anything else, you know, including, and he made the point of, like, green pieces of paper. And how, like, because like the game does hit this cosmic level of destroying worlds and lives in the name of making this number go up, like, I guess it's a message of corporate greed. And so that's why you're like, no, sit down and play the game. And I'm like, I'm dying inside by doing this.
Okay.
Because I'm contributing to the problem.
Okay, here's the thing, though.
I realize
in the grand scheme of things, you're not contributing to anything. It's literally just a number going up on the screen.
I'm not. And honestly, I'm not doing any of the world-shattering things that you can do in this. I'm like this close to just closing the tab, but I know you're
that's it. We've got enough footage for the video to be interesting.
Okay, cool.
You can stop now.
Goodbye.
Okay, I have that video now. This
You're
episode
welcome.
just got more interesting.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, but, like, it's kind of the theory behind it, you know, if you get what I'm saying. Like, the idea of it's just greed. It's just wanting to see the number get bigger, regardless of what it takes to get there. And I'm like, it just doesn't make me feel good.
Yeah.
Like, I play games to have fun, and this just hurts me.
Yeah.
It is quite literally a waste of my time. Because, like, I don't know. I also think that, like, any of, like, the games that maybe I don't like, I'm like, there is a game there. You can play it. You can do things. The fact that, like, the ultimate goal of this game is to build to the point that you don't even have to do anything. You literally stop playing the game and just let it play itself. I don't know. It's gross. I don't like it. Blech.
That's fair.
Sucks. Anyway, so that's about the most I want to talk about Cookie Clicker.
No, that's fair. To our good friend Guano Guanson, also known as To Weird Dude on the YouTubes, please leave your glowing review of Pokey Clicker in the comments.
Listen, if you like idle games, I have nothing against you. Like, different things for different people, you enjoy it. I just, like, I don't know. When I play a game, I want something to take away with me. You know, I want something for the
time investment.
The time investment, you know. I don't want to play a game just to say, well, I played that. Like, I want to walk away with something. It's, you know, it's one of the reasons why I love very story heavy games, is because, you know, even though I've beaten the game, I accomplished the challenge that I needed to do by pushing the buttons, the story and the characters and stuff get to stay with me even after it's over. And so to me, like, that's what I value in a lot of games. And so when it's like, well, this one doesn't even have, like, you played the game, you know, because, like, like, how long did it take me to look at that footage to get to the point where I was like, okay, cool, I don't have to do anything. I literally could have just minimized the window and just not done anything. Like, and the game would have just played itself.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like this, Joseph. I don't like feeling yucky like this.
It's okay. It's just for one episode.
It's one episode.
Yeah.
But that is my hate that I have traded to you.
No, that was solid. That was an interesting rant. I know that, like, I feel like I could spend an hour just picking apart what you said about that. And, you know, get into the hard philosophical concepts of, like, what counts as a game? How much play does there need to be before it's, you know, like, officially a game or not a game? And
that it's interesting that you mentioned that, because I think it was the Nostalgia Critic. It's funny, I quoted this a lot in college, and, like, I had an art class, and they talked about, like, what is art? And then I, like, referenced this video.
Yeah.
But I always think about it because, you know, the Nostalgia Critic was like, well, what counts as art? Like, it was like, our video games art.
Right. I
like,
remember that discussion.
By literal definition, yes. Like, by the definition of art, you know, that picture you drew in 3rd grade of your doggy, like, out of macaroni, that's technically art. But wait, he's like, but when people ask that question, they mean, is it high art? What does it say about society? What is the value in it? You know, that's what they're asking. And I think that kind of holds true here, is like, okay, is this a video game? By definition, yes. But is it good? Is it worth my time? Or are there other things that I would rather play?
Okay, yeah. This is going to interface really interestingly with the game that I picked.
I know. This is
But that's the thing. I get that, like, the way that I react to all this stuff, like, I always want to behave like a deep thinking philosopher instead of a person that's fun to have a conversation with. Like, I always want to break stuff down and be like, okay, but, like, why do you feel that way? Do you think, like, anything could change your perspective, or you could understand, like, hey, like, even if this isn't for me, I can see the value that other people can get. In the case of, like, idle games, things like, you know, people with, like, disabilities that can't properly play video games but can still get the experience of playing one while doing a simpler task that is suited to their level of capability or whatever. But in terms of idle clickers, like, I brought up the Poke Clicker thing because Guano plays that. Like, there are more interesting objectives there. There's, like, it, like, takes you through the regions of each of the gens and, like, slowly adds in the Pokemon, and you fill out a Pokedex and stuff. There's actual objectives, even though the gameplay is just clicking the mouse until you've clicked it enough times that the game can click for you. But
yeah, and I mean, there's stuff like that in Cookie Clicker too. That, like, there's objectives,
right? But it's
the ultimate objective.
The ultimate objective is to see the number go up, which is a very like, it's definitely not what you or I play games for.
You know what it is?
What?
This is so. Do you remember Garfield and Friends?
Yeah.
Their TV that on that show, just like Garfield sitting there, and it's like a game show. It just says, "Hit the buzzer, win a cookie," and it's just a game show. And it just, you win a cookie, you win another cookie, you win another cookie.
Are you telling me that Garfield invented motorcycle? Please, I need a clean take of this. Are you telling me that Garfield invented Cookie Clicker?
I didn't say that, but if he did, I got some beef with the orange cat.
No, because I'm definitely thinking about, like, around the time when internet became mainstream, and, like, not just, like, internet becoming mainstream, but people developing browser apps and things, as opposed to when Garfield and Friends was circulating on public television. They might have come up with it first.
Maybe. I don't know. And again, it's April 1st. I am playing things up a little bit.
Right. I
to
mean,
be funny.
right down to like the unironic quoting of Nostalgia Critic. Like this is what we're here for on an April Fool's Day episode.
Yeah. It's just it's just one of those things. It's like, what's a game that you dislike? And I'm like, because here's the thing, a lot of like the other games that I have issues with, there's still things I like. I can like about them.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, I can see the value in. This is just one of those games I don't. It, like, me and Cookie Clicker, we don't click. Roll credits!
That's all, folks.
That's all, folks. Oh, yeah, you have one of these to give to me now.
Yeah. So, I'd say this is what I brought to the potluck, but it's more of a pot unlucky.
That's okay. I brought like 500 cookies to the potluck.
Think about how much you accomplished. You got 600 digits on the screen. That's amazing.
And it required no effort on my part.
You had to click
You know
for
what,
like
you know
a
what
minute
the worst
and a
part
half.
is? You know what the worst part is? I'm sorry to bring it back to this. I can't even eat them.
Yeah.
Like, listen, if I had 600 cookies just for myself, I would weigh a lot more than I do now. But, that would be something of value. This is nothing.
I get the sense that that's what it must feel like to be a billionaire. Is just like sitting there watching the numbers go up, and then somehow, like, without lifting a finger, all these numbers are just going, and you're like, I'm so cool. It's like...
Anyway, what'd you bring for me?
Yeah,
I'm kind of my brain has turned to cookie dough at this point. Like,
no, that's
and like not
amount
like
of jokes.
Somebody put nuts in there, so like I don't know.
Do you actually want to hear what I have to say?
You go for it.
All right. So before I get into actually talking about the game, I want to talk a little bit about the process of like where I came from with choosing a game, because yes, there's stuff out there, like Cookie Clicker that's like not a game, and there's gacha games which morally I think are extremely predatory and are very like corrupt in their design. But I haven't played a ton of gacha games, and the ones that I did play, like, they were fine, and then I just left when, I hit the paywall. And so, like, they were inoffensive. So then I started thinking about, like, okay, maybe more than Tradin Hates for me, this is like a Tradin disappointment.
Oh.
Because, like, like the stereotype of the parents, I'm not mad, I'm disappointed, and somehow that like bites worse than like something that makes you angry.
Oh my goodness! Wait, you came? I came with a stick of dynamite. You came with an orbital satellite.
A whole like mortar cannon. No, because that's the thing, right? Like, I don't really rage at games. Ever since I turned, like, 12, I've never, like, gotten so mad at a video game that I was yelling while I was playing. Mm-hmm. But I have had games that have, like, betrayed expectations.
Yeah, and my goodness. If you told me this, I would have brought something totally different.
Well, that's what I'm saying, because I was trying to think of stuff that got me, like, shouting angry mad, and, like, I guess Mario Party. But, like, now as an adult, I like Mario Party, so, like, I couldn't pick that game.
You live for the chaos.
I enjoy the BS. So here's the thing. Originally, the game that I was going to pick for this, that is not the game I've settled on, was Sonic Labyrinth for the Game Gear. Because you've heard me talk about that one, right?
Oh, yeah.
When I first played that, I was committed to like beating it because it's such a memed on Sonic game.
You want to know something funny? You convinced me not to try it.
Wow.
Because like you played it and you were so upset and you were just like, I hate it. And so I was like, okay, Joseph's pretty upset. I don't need to play this game.
Right. So,
I'm not
that's
missing
the
much.
thing. When I first had played that one, it was through like Sonic Adventure DX, because you got the unlockable Game Gear games as you collect emblems. And I was like, wow, the internet is right. This game is crap. And then even like it was a YouTube video that I never actually ended up making, but I was compiling a list of like the worst Sonic levels. And the final area of Sonic Labyrinth, Labyrinth in the Sky, I placed it like number 3 on like the top 10 worst Sonic levels of all time.
I remember you pitching that idea for that video.
So allow me to just explain to you all that a lot can change in a week, because like I was going to go into this and I'm like, I haven't played the game in a while, so I should refresh my memory, replay the game and see, if I still feel what I feel about the game. And I think the first thing is like my expectations were not betrayed, because it's just like a crummy little Game Gear game, obviously. We're not expecting high level, like epic Sonic gameplay from this. But then before actually getting to play the game, I watched, hilariously enough, about a 10-minute YouTube video talking about it. And it was someone explaining like, hey, a lot of people hate this game, but like there's a lot that people don't understand about the game. Here's how you're supposed to play it, and here's some little tricks to make it more playable. And then after watching that video, I went in and played it, and I was like, I'm having fun. I can't even get mad at Sonic Labyrinth. Like, it's by no means one of like the high-ranking Sonic games of all time, but like I had fun playing it, and so I was like, well, can't use this for Tradin Hates because I had fun.
Wait, no, it's actually it's not that bad.
Yeah, I won't say it's a great game, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not offensive when you actually learn how to play the game, and that's the majority of video games, that you have to be willing to meet them. So anyways, all that to say, I was out of a game and I had to find something else. And so, continuing to be the Sonic fan that I am, I started digging through the Sonic series and thinking like, okay, which Sonic games hurt me? And stuff, as people who regularly watch my channel know, Shadow the Hedgehog was one of those games that I got for Christmas and I was very disappointed with. But there's still enough in there that I like about it that I can't just be like, no, it's a bad game and it makes me angry. And so, like, I was scrambling, looking for stuff. I was like, well, Sonic Lost World on Wii U was really mediocre. And I'm like, mediocre didn't hurt my feelings, though. I was just like, that's a shame. And then, like, Sonic and the Secret Rings, like, the controls are terrible to that game.
Yep.
And you have to unlock better controls as you play the game, which is really stupid in terms of design. Yep. But there's so much else that I like about Sonic and the Secret
Rings. And you called me out for it earlier.
So it's like, okay, no Sonic. I will not pick a Sonic game.
My boy is safe.
And so I started thinking about what else I got, and I finally landed on something that I was excited to play because I wanted to see it, and then it disappointed my expectations. And then as I was playing it, I started finding stuff that I liked about it, and I was like, oh my goodness, like it's a little rough around the edges, but there's something to like here. And then the ending just like ruined the experience for me. Well, I won't say ruined, because I still fondly remember my experience going through the game, but my Tradin Hate is Zero Time Dilemma. And you have seen the Let's Play that I did with my friends over on Snowflake the Pirates YouTube channel. So if you want to see us like delve into that game, more importantly, I recommend the first 2 games in the series, Zero Escape 999 and Zero Escape Virtue's Last Reward. Those are both solid games that I love very much. And because I love those games, they set up my expectations.
Oh my goodness.
So, without getting too much in the weeds of like what the actual story is, and the like the nitty gritty, so that way like the lay listener can still understand what I'm talking about. Allow me to just explain. Like, this is the 3rd game in a trilogy. That definitely, you can tell by the ending, it's a bit sequel baity, and like they leave it open that another game could be made, but they didn't continue the series after this, mostly because of like poor sales and not enough budget to make the games. And boy, do you feel the lack of budget in this one compared to the other 2.
It hits.
So like, let me just walk you through this, because like Zero Time Dilemma, it's technically still not a bad game, but it really disappointed me. And again, I think that's worse.
Yep.
Okay. Like, here's the thing. So the first 2 games are like visual novels with like puzzle solving elements. Whereas this one, instead of going the visual novel route, they do like full animated cutscenes, but they had an extremely low budget for it, and the characters look extremely uncanny valley. And the animation is rough. Like, they don't even have like animations of the characters doing stuff. The camera will like cut away. Like, if a character falls over, they don't show an animation of the character falling over. They cut the camera, they pan the camera to the ceiling, and then you hear a thud sound, and then the camera pans back, and it's a model of the character on the ground.
Well, I'd also argue the characters don't even look like themselves, because the art direction was so different.
They, like, okay, so I won't say that the character designs look bad. Aesthetically, they're interesting looking character designs, but the art style looks nothing like it was with the first 2 games. And there are returning characters from older games, and they all look extremely different in this art style. And that's the thing, we're talking art style, but like in terms of the story and the writing, which they're mostly like novel games, visual novel games, the first 2. So the story is kind of everything. It is the reason you're playing these games. The personalities of characters have been so heavily altered, and it tries to use these hard shifts in like the characters' personalities changing to benefit the direction that the story needs to go, but it's creating a problem so you can resolve the problem, as opposed to, like doing a natural progression of like, this is where the character was when the game ended, and here's the next logical step for them. It's just these like hard, jarring shifts, and so they feel like caricatures of their old selves, and it's so out of line with how they were in the past. And it's like, even if it's reasonable for the plot to go in that direction, like, a fan favorite protag of the first game, Junpei, now he's like more grumpy and edgy and stuff, and like all these horrible experiences in his life have made him so jaded about the world or whatever. And it's like, that is a logical step to take his character, but he was such a likable character in the first game that we just don't have that anymore.
He just feels like a completely different character.
It's a different character walking around with the same name. And then you get, like, they tease you. You get little moments where he feels in character, and then it goes back to him not being that way because the story's got to have dramatic stakes, and it's... Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, there's so much stuff I could talk about. Like, mechanically, the way that they structure the story is that, like, you don't experience the story in a linear fashion. Every sequence in the story starts with the characters waking up, potentially, like, with missing memories. They don't remember what happened in the previous parts of the game. And then they go back to sleep and, you know, potentially lose their memories as they go back to sleep. And then you get these events in a random order. Like, you do not experience the story in a linear fashion. It's not random, but, like, you can't progress in a linear order. You have to do the story out of order and then piece it all together. And it makes for a really interesting structure as a game. But there's, like, a ton of stop and start. Because every scene has to open with them waking up and being like, oh, what happened? I can't remember anything. Oh, now we gotta do this challenge or solve this puzzle or figure out this riddle. And then they do it. And then Zero comes on the intercom and he's like, you have done well. Now it is time to sleep. And then the characters are like, no, wait! And then they get knocked out and lose their memories. And then you start in a new area where you repeat the cycle of them being like, huh? How did we get here? Oh man, what happened last? We gotta solve the puzzle. And so it's just this, like, monotonous, like, stop and start rhythm as opposed to just the story flowing like it did in the other games. And there was fun aspects about that because, like, when we did our Let's Play, and that's the thing, like, Snowfy and Guano made playing through this game fun.
Yep.
Even though it was such a mess of an adventure, they made it fun because we do stuff like, oh, like, each one of us is in charge of the decisions of a protagonist, like, of the 3 protagonists that are here for the different teams. And so the other 2 people have to leave the room when they make a choice, and we don't get to see the choice they made or something like that. So, like, we were creating our own fun out of it. Mm-hmm. But that's on us, not the game. That's not something the game did. It wasn't
the intended way to play the game.
Right.
Which, that is an argument, too, for, like, games that you dislike, is you can definitely take a game that isn't great and make it better by just making your own fun.
Yeah, you could do, like, the same thing with Cookie Clicker. If you create your own objective, you can turn it into more of a game than it is.
A much more interesting goal or something, you know, something to take away from it. I don't know how you would begin to do that, and I'm not really interested in trying to, but like, I see the potential there, and I'm like, okay, that redeems it somewhat because there's a possibility, but also, like you were saying, it's not the intended way to play it.
Right. There's, like, I want to comment on this too, because again, like, the story is the majority of the game, and this is where the majority of the disappointment came from, but, like, there's a point where the plot starts building just like a snowball down a hill. Like, it starts filling in the gaps from, like, things that weren't answered in previous games, and it is, like, building towards this great conclusion to, like, end the trilogy. And so, like, there's a point where the game starts to get fun and satisfying. And then when you get to the end of the game, when it finally feels like you're going to get a proper conclusion to the mystery that has been building over the course of 3 games, it drops all of it to try and make a fancy pants poetic message about making choices. And it just leaves you hanging. And it's just like, this it's not what I signed up for though. It's such like it's not even just that it's a cliffhanger and they're like, oh, you got to play the fourth game, and then they didn't make a fourth game. It prides itself on the fact that it drops the plot completely and is like, that's the message. Is that all of this happened for dumb, arbitrary reasons. Like,
but they're complex.
My motives are often very complex.
No, they're not. You
It's
just want to say it to sound smart.
I mean, that's the entirety of the Zero Escape series, but like, it's fun in the other two games. But I don't know. It just gets in that moment where it's like it answers all of the questions of the older games, and so you feel like you're gonna get a satisfying ending, but it just doesn't conclude the story. In the hopes that they'll get a sequel, which is a bad idea considering that they were running out of budget and seeing less success for this franchise, that they just reached this point and it was like, ugh. Here's my analogy to summarize.
Okay.
It is this amazing series of games, and it runs this incredible race, and then it trips at the finish line, but it never gets up and then crosses the finish line. It just stays down at the finish line.
It tripped and died.
It didn't even die. It just is sitting there. And it's like, you can get up and cross the finish line. It's like, no, we're just staying here. It was a deliberate choice to not cross the finish line, which makes you have to ask, why run the race? Why build all this up to just say, no, we're not going to finish this anymore?
Finish it yourself.
It's okay. As a whole journey, it was fun, and I definitely give the credit to my friends for making it fun. But it's like, because in terms of gameplay, it's just like puzzle solving, like in the older games. The majority of the rooms, the puzzles are a bit easier than they were in past games. And then like one or two of the rooms, the difficulty just like spikes way hard. But like, I don't know. I'm not a puzzle guy. I don't like puzzle games. And so I was 100% in this for the story. So like, I'm not offended by the way the gameplay is done. But it's just like, It's not even that we didn't get what we signed up for. It's that, like, we were told by the person that was signing us up, like, hey, we don't want you to have this ending. And that's the point of this story. It's wacky. And then I guess on, like, very arbitrary, like, rankings of what makes a good game, there's, like, soundtrack, and, like, I think the soundtrack in this one is less memorable than the first two. Mm-hmm. But, like, it's still, like, it's just kind of some, like, chill and sometimes, like, mysterious, like, D&B stuff, and it's like, okay, that's fine. But that's the main thing. Just that story and the art style and the animation. It was a real downgrade, and it was a shame to see, like, oh, that's where it ends.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, you're gonna pull it up and play it right now? Yeah.
Here we go. April Fools!
Ah, you got me.
No, I was trying to say, I have played Zero Time Dilemma, though.
No, you definitely have.
You watched a person play Cookie Clicker. I was behind the mouse and keyboard playing the game.
I mean, to be fair,
mm-hmm.
Technically, I experienced most of the gameplay just by looking over my friend's shoulder.
That is true, and it's a game that you can mostly experience by looking over someone's shoulder.
I literally got the same enjoyment watching him play it as I did playing it for those 4 seconds when I was starting out.
Mm-hmm. That's funny. I guess, like,
but, I got the satisfaction of pushing the button.
Final thoughts. My whole takeaway on all of this is this. I don't know. We get excited seeing, the big name streamers sort of like filling in the niche of the village idiot and like getting outraged at a video game because it's crazy. But like, I don't know, like look for meaning in the content you consume, because it can really open your eyes. You can find lesser pieces of media, like when I went back to Sonic Labyrinth and found like, oh hey, you know what? Like, there actually is some fun here to be had, and also it's not a game that I have to take seriously. Nobody is forcing me to take this seriously, so I can play it for as long as I'm having a good time and then detach when I'm done with it.
No, I 100% agree, because, like, I didn't even mention it in mine, but, like, I flipped through a pretty big list myself. I hilariously did the Sonic thing, too, because I was like, hey, I know I've played Sonic games that have made me mad, but, like, there were still things I enjoyed about them. And same with, like, I think at one point Fire Emblem Fates was on there because, like, I really enjoyed Birthright, but then Conquest. Then I played Conquest, and I was like, these are the exact same story beats, which kind of cheapened my experience with the first. But I was like, but there's still, like, moments and maps and characters and gameplay that, like, I really enjoyed in this game. So, like, I can't say that. I ultimately settled on Cookie Clicker because it was like the barrier to entry was so short.
Yeah. Well,
I was like,
it's an easy target, and it's also something you don't have to get invested in. You can walk away from it freely.
Exactly. There wasn't anything to get me invested in, get invested in, which I think also is part of its problem, is that I like getting invested in stuff.
Right.
And I think you.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I think you hit the nail on the head with some of the observations you made about, like, having friends with you can definitely turn a bad game into a great time.
It is true.
Like,
it is very much
genuinely,
true.
because, like, even looking over my friend's shoulder and being like, this is the stupidest game ever, and like the stupid, like, he's like, I know this is pissing you off, which is why I'm gonna keep pushing the issue. And be like, nah, it's great, man. Look at all these cookies. Like, and I was like, so, like, can you eat them? Can you do with it? No, I can use them to buy more things to make more cookies. And I'm just like, and, like, it was this moment of, like, this is so stupid, but, like, we're also kind of having fun, poking fun at how stupid this is.
You're enjoying the stupid energy of engaging with it seriously.
Yeah, which also, like, I think kind of part of why, because I talked with my wife a bit about this, doing this episode, because she mentioned, she's like, you guys are, like, normally so positive. Do you really want to do this?
No, full disclosure, we clickbaited you guys and, like, snuck a positive message into this episode. Like, that was our intention from the start, was not to dwell on the negativity.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, nah, like, we're doing this mostly just to be funny and have fun and, kind of laugh at ourselves a little bit.
And I think also, like, you guys have, like, this is coming out on April Fool's Day. Like, you guys are getting hit with pranks from other YouTube channels. Like, I think it'd be nice to get a little reprieve, like something harmless fun today.
Yup. No, yeah. It's just totally meant to be like, hey, here's a silly thing. We're breaking up the norm. Because this definitely won't be the constant.
This was definitely my own sort of self-imposed rule, but I definitely also wanted to pick something that I actually played and I felt like I could make a fair statement on, because, like, another one that comes to mind for me, something I don't like, is Mortal Kombat, because of the gore. That's that's the game that goes like too far for me, and I'm like, I don't want to just, apples and orange this, because there's reasons why people want to play Mortal Kombat instead of the other fighting games that are out there. But, like, for me, like, I can get the same enjoyment out of other fighting games without the violence.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I'm like, it's not fair to pick Mortal Kombat then, because I didn't engage with it trying to enjoy it and then walking away disappointed. But... Zero Time Dilemma, man.
It attacked you on a personal level, and that's
you can. I'm telling y'all, like, if you watch our Let's Play series of that game, you will see me
in real time
go into, like, you will see the roller coaster of emotions where I think, like, oh, you know what? This game's just misunderstood. It is going somewhere. and then how I feel by the ending. And then I can't even, like, make sense of my feelings at the ending. I'm like, I hate that ending. But, like, it was such a fun experience that I don't know how to feel. It's good stuff. I don't know. I think there's a lot of other people out there that are much more happy with, like, tapping into their anger in a healthy, constructive way. So, like, I definitely want to see people in the comments, like, what's a game that just pissed you off that you need just, like, a healthy, quick vent about?
Uh-huh. Just, like, let me just get my opinion. Because even sometimes just venting about it, just to get it out of your system. It helps, because, like, again, first episode of this, that the space,
the Metroid manga,
the space elf, like, made me so upset, but now it's almost looped into, like, I think it's so funny that I got so upset over that. That, like, it almost kind of, like, loops back into, like, oh, it's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I don't know how to end this.
No, that was... I don't either, but that was a fun discussion. I'm surprised.
Oh, wait. I know how to end this. April Fools!
That was me getting sent to the Shadow Realm.
The Uno reverse card.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I am okay with stopping my recording there.
All right, I will stop mine. April Fools, I'm still going! Okay, now I'm stopping. Ah, shoot! I pressed the wrong button! wait, sorry! I'm sorry. I pressed the wrong button. I hung up the call instead of stopping my recording. Oh my goodness. I'm stopping my recording now. I can't believe I April Fool's pranked myself.